Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with the miserable liberal.
Hi, Jimmy.
Guess what? So you tell me what you think of this. I was watching this is interesting, this video. So this, Ali Veshy, one of our favorite MSNBC reporters, he's Canadian. He tells the truth. He's a tough talker, except when it comes to net neutrality, he pretends he doesn't understand it. But that's okay. We still like Ali Veshy. And so he's interviewing, this guy is actually an Al Jazeera reporter, or maybe he was and he's talking to Ali Veshy, and let's watch what happens.
We're in Beaumont, and then we have Port Arthur to the south. Now, you know, it's interesting. The reason why it's called the Golden Triangle is because this is the first place in the United States where they discovered large quantities of oil in 1901.
Right.
And that led to the Texas oil boom and the huge amounts of money pouring into this region. It's pretty clear, though, that despite that, money has not been flowing into this region for the infrastructure, for the climate change effects that we knew were inevitable because of the oil and gas industry's activities on this coastline, even as those oil and gas industries were covering up what they knew about climate change in the 70s. I have to go on about this. Ali, you're an Al Jazeera guy. We get to the point on Al Jazeera.
Yep.
So that is very striking for us here. So much money has been made on this region, and it hasn't gone into the infrastructure to deal with the climate change that was inevitable because of the industry.
Hold that thought for 1 second,
because you're making our producers uncomfortable. I don't know all that talk about how the oil and gas industry has sucked the profits out of this earth, literally, and then didn't invest anything back to help it. We can't have that. They created climate change, and they ignored it. They covered it up, and now this is the effects of it. And anyway, we got to go. So they cut to a live rescue, which
on the screen we've got a lot.
Looks like every rescue I've ever seen in my life, right? So not to downplay how serious this is, but what news value is it to watch this while this guy's actually giving us news? That was something I wanted to hear him talk more about. And hey, look, we got a guy getting pulled up.
Helicopter rescue. I believe I'm going to ask my control room. This is in Beaumont. Miguel Almaguer, I believe, is on that helicopter. They have lowered the basket to get some.
Yeah, I get it. We know how rescues work. They're going to lower the basket. They're going to pull the person in. Okay. Yeah, I guess you have a camera there. So so they do that for a while. They rescue the person. They come back. They come back to this guy. Now watch how he gets. So you just watch. He starts to talk about it again. And here we go.
You can't make the connection between the oil and gas industry and climate change much clearer. And you know, you were talking to someone in Port Arthur. We understand the largest crude oil refinery in the United States in Port Arthur is shutting down. That might sound very prudent, but what we know from experience is when you shut down these refineries, there's a huge amount of toxic gas that's released. So we've got to watch out for all that. And in the past, oil and gas companies have just got away with covertly just like losing a lot of toxic waste in emergencies like this. But this is, I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, this has been warned about for years by climate scientists. ProPublica had a piece just last year warning that something like this was about to happen in the Houston area at the very least. And yet this is all coming as a surprise, and there just aren't the preparations for it. And yet so much money has been generated here. The mayor yesterday talking about how she spent $5 million on roadways for drainage. Well, it wasn't enough.
I love this guy. This guy is really getting it right. He's like, look, all the incredible amounts of money that's been generated here, and none of it's been spent back to help these people. And then, of course, they're covering up climate change, and this is they've created it, and this is the. Oh, by the way, when they shut down a refinery, they're going to spill a bunch of chemicals into the environment, just so you know, and they get away with it because it's a tragic time. It's a tragic event. It's a big catastrophe. So now let's watch him get cut off. So he's really bringing it. Can't have this.
There is more money here, and Texas politicians clearly have a lot to answer for because they're the ones.
I think we may have just lost Shihab's line there. We're looking at another rescue in Port.
You're kidding me! You're kidding me!
I think we just lost them. Yeah, they lost them. You never hear people say that stuff. Of course that guy's from Al Jazeera. Of course that guy's from Al Jazeera. And Ali Veshy's like, hey, I don't know if you know, they're one of our big advertisers. I wish you would cut it out. Don't quit talking about the oil industry. They make everything run. Liquid, so black gold, cut it out. So I wonder if it was the head of Exxon calling Phil Griffin. I wonder who made the call. Because somebody called and then they cut that guy off. So that's funny. Every once in a while, the truth slips out on mainstream news. Isn't that funny? Isn't that nice? Every once in a while. And then, of course, they got to cut him off immediately. I'm sure it was just because of the hurricane. I'm sure that's what that was. I'm sure that's what it was. Just a hurricane, right? That he got cut off, right? It wasn't that.
In Beaumont, that's where Shihab is. He's not exactly in this spot, but again, Beaumont, much of Beaumont is covered in water, and we are looking at another.
That's it. That was it. They didn't get him back. We're going to show you another rescue. What do you make of that, Steph?
Of course, the minute he talks about the infrastructure
Isn't
that
that
they didn't
something?
invest in, that they have all of this money that's coming in and out of the state, but they're not going to invest it in the state itself.
Isn't that interesting? No, of course not. Of course not. That would be.
What a necessary jobs program it is to rebuild the United States infrastructure.
We'll
Maybe
see.
one of the parties will be figuring that out soon.
We will see. We will see. So I'm not going to make too much out of that. I wish that guy would get hired by MSNBC. Of course, if he did, they'd give him $1 million and he would shut up. That's how it works. They give you a 3-year contract. They tell you to shut up, and they give you a couple $1 million, and you shut up. And I cannot wait for my millions of dollars. Who do I call? Who do I call? How do I get that? How do I get that money? To shut up, because I'm tired of talking. I really would love to shut up, and I could use a couple $1 million to do it. My price now has gone up a little bit.
Really?
Well, since Megyn Kelly gets $17 million a year to do her nightly show, I'll go for half. I'll go for $8.5 million. Half of 1 year's her salary.
You are a math scientist.
$8.5 million. I will shut up, sell out, and do the bidding of the corporations. That seems pretty reasonable, actually. Anyway, I would love to see that guy more. Okay, there you go. And MSNBC people almost got some truth. Almost. It came very close. Maybe next time. Hey, everybody, we have 2 live Jimmy Dore shows in September. September 25th, we're in San Diego, and September 18th in Burbank, California. Get your tickets right there. There's a link right there.